If you're looking to go viral, a fancy move, dribble combination, or an insane dunk will probably get the job done. But you don't necessarily need to do all that in order to win a championship. Being crazy athletic certainly helps, but we've seen that it's not necessarily required to be successful, with Nikola Jokic being a prime example of that. As we all know, his moves aren't exactly the most eye-popping, but you can't argue that they're definitely effective. Some people might call his style of play boring, but I call it being more efficient. And if you had to compare him to somebody from the past, it wouldn't really be all that difficult to come up with an answer: Tim Duncan, who also played the game in a very basic type of way, but it happened to lead to success as well. Usually when current players get compared to previous legends is not really warranted most of the time, but in the case of Jokic, he 100% earned this comparison. In fact, he actually welcomes this comparison with open arms, as he wants to be viewed as the Tim Duncan for the Denver Nuggets.
Like I said, I wanted to be the Tim Duncan of Denver Nuggets, but I need to win a couple championships to be him.
Now, of course, this comparison isn't perfect, because Duncan's passing ability doesn't measure up to Jokic's, while Jokic doesn't even come close to being the defender that Duncan was. But they are both dominant post players who rely on their fundamental skills and basketball IQ to do their damage, and both made guarding a non-athletic big seem impossible. Jokic revealed that he models his game after Duncan and is somebody he looks up to.
Who were the guys that you really liked when you were coming up as a player that you studied their post footwork?
Tim Duncan.
Duncan was?
And it looks like choosing to study Duncan's game ended up working out for him, because now everybody can see the similarities.
I hope you agree with me. He's a Tim Duncan of big men.
Yeah.
Yeah. The way he dominates the game,
Yes.
picks up game, he's not flashy.
If you have a comp through your entire time covering the league for the Joker, who is it?
I'm not going to go back nearly that far. I think he reminds me in a lot of ways of Tim Duncan.
He reminds me of Tim Duncan as far as like, I thought Tim Duncan was the most no drama, great player I ever watched.
I've spoken to people around the Nuggets. None of this is possible without Nikola Jokic. They know how much they lucked into it. You can't really prepare. You can't really scout for a guy like Nikola Jokic. You just have to luck into it. They lucked into it. And I mean, he's this modern era Tim Duncan if there ever was one.
Is there a comparison for Jokic in your estimation, Jamal?
Yeah, if you put like a gumbo mix of 3 or 4 of the best players ever together, let's put some Magic, let's throw a little bit of Bird in there, throw some Dirk, and let's end it with Tim Duncan. And you mix that up and you get the Joker.
Former Nuggets coach George Karl seems to be in agreement as well, as he tweeted this a couple years ago. And of course, let's listen to what the current Nuggets head coach has to say.
I often make the comparison, and I never coached Tim Duncan, but just from coaching against him and hearing stories about those who've been around him, like Tim Duncan was a selfless superstar. And I look at Nikola Jokic in the same vein. I think Nikola Jokic is a truly selfless superstar, where it's not about him. He's not looking for people to look at me, tell me how great I am. He's almost embarrassed by the attention.
Almost embarrassed by the attention, he says, which tells you that the parallels between them aren't just limited to how they play. They're very similar in many other ways as well.
Kind of the modern day version of a Tim Duncan, a guy that doesn't necessarily want all the attention. Obviously his game is a little bit different than Tim's, but the personality.
Neither really says much of anything on the court, as they would rather let their game do most of the talking instead. They tend to avoid the spotlight and media attention, hence why Tim Duncan decided that he did not want a farewell tour.
Tim Duncan retires. We knew there was a possibility, but it has now been confirmed, ladies and gentlemen. In classic low-key style, Tim Duncan gave us a press release. No major announcement, just a press release. There were no quotes or comments from him, but that could never, ever be an issue because it doesn't take away from his all-star career.
And Jokic seems like the type to do the same thing when he retires. I mean, if he was willing to run away from a harmless podcast invitation, you really think he wants to deal with everything that comes with having a farewell tour?
No.
What?
Don't put that to me.
Why not?
There we go.
Oh, him too?
No, not two. Not him too. Just him.
Maybe he's just too nervous doing podcasts, the same way Tim Duncan was nervous for his Hall of Fame speech. But you can't really skip out on doing that.
We'll try to get through this. This is the most nervous I've ever been in my life. Been through finals, game sevens. This is officially the most nervous I've ever been in my life. Been pacing my room all day, so let's see what we get.
It seems like when it's time to celebrate their accomplishments, they just don't want anything to do with it and would rather be somewhere else.
So I'm curious what you are feeling right now, and if you're looking forward to a parade coming up in Denver.
Many parade.
When is parade?
Thursday.
No. I need to go home. Okay.
Nothing really excites them and are not easily impressed.
You're the fourth player in NBA Finals history to record the line that you had today, joining like LeBron, KD, and Tim Duncan. What do you think about when you hear that?
It's not a big 23, 12, and 4. Fourth ever, the 23, 10, and 4. Oh. I mean, I don't know. Nice. It's good. I mean, I really don't know what to say.
And that's the kind of nonchalant attitude Tim Duncan gave off when he was asked about Michael Jordan one time.
Actually, I have watched him a lot, and I know what a great player he is, but I've never really, I don't know, had a liking for him.
They often seem to downplay their individual achievements, with Jokic admitting that he doesn't chase awards, which looks to be the case if this headline is true. I guess he doesn't care about individual awards all that much. And perhaps that's because basketball wasn't even his first choice. Same with Tim Duncan, who both had a different career in mind growing up before ultimately choosing to go with basketball. Believe it or not, Duncan's first love was actually swimming. He trained extremely hard in his younger years and aimed to go to the 1992 Olympics, but a devastating hurricane, along with some sharks, forced him to take up basketball instead, while Jokic's initial dream was horse racing, where his father had to convince him to focus on basketball for his own good. Now, we can't go through all that and not talk about the only two times they happen to face each other. Some of you might be surprised to learn that they actually played against each other, because luckily Jokic just so happened to enter the league just in time to catch him before he retired. They both had something to say about those games. Take a look at how Duncan responded to Richard Jefferson after he said this just recently.
Can I say something about Tim? I'm a rat at Tim. I was talking shit to Tim just recently. I was like, Jokic would have whooped your ass. Would he whooped your ass? And he goes, this is the ultimate Tim Duncan text. He goes, I played him after I was me and before he was him, and I did okay. like that's the way he takes it. Like it's like if you know Tim, like that's the ultimate compliment to Jokic of like, before he was him and after I was me, I did okay.
And here's Jokic giving a quick summary on when he played Duncan his rookie year as well.
I remember when he played against me. He was a little bit older, but he still gave me the easiest 20 points I ever in life, probably.
Although Jokic was technically drafted in 2014, he wouldn't officially join the Nuggets until the summer of 2015, which made him a rookie during the game Jokic was referring to, where Duncan gave him an easy 20. The regular season was just about over at this point. Although we weren't really sure at the time, it ended up being Duncan's final season and was a couple weeks away from turning 40.
Got it back, look out, and then he floats it up and in. Timeout, Denver. Here comes Patty Mills coming in.
Just tries to go quick, and he doesn't have to do that.
Under to Duncan.
You see Duncan down there.
Duncan, one to shoot. Tim Duncan, one of the all-time greats.
Duncan ended up with 21 points, 7 rebounds, and 2 assists. But the Nuggets actually won the game surprisingly, despite the Spurs winning a franchise-best 67 games that year. Plus, the Spurs did play the 73-9 Warriors just the night before. Jokic actually played better the first time they went up against each other on November 18th, 2015, which was only about a month into his career.
Harden, just watch him go by.
Yeah, exactly.
Give me the ball to go the other way.
Exactly.
Jokic, a little floater. Jokic is impressive. 20-year-old Serbian. Nelson to Jokic.
He's had a terrific game.
Jokic from Gallinari, and Jokic having a career night in his rookie season.
Jokic ended the night with 23 points, 12 rebounds, 3 blocks, and 2 steals. But we can't act like Duncan didn't give Jokic problems in the process on both ends of the floor.
When the ball goes up, we got to put a body on somebody.
Rebounds in 2018, but Jokic making a living off of the offensive glass is Timmy. Tim knocked it away from Jokic.
The Spurs off and running. Kawhi makes the right decision with it in the open court.
8 for Green. Spurs have hit 9 threes on 17 attempts.
Duncan also had an insane stat line of his own. 12 points, 11 rebounds, 6 assists, and 6 blocks, and got the win as well. Jokic learned a lot from Duncan and reminisces about going up against him all the time.
Even when I played against him in my first year, he could not move that much in that period, but he gave me easy 20. Like, I did not touch him. Like, I couldn't do nothing. He just for fighting for the position with pivots, all kind of easy shots, finding an open space, setting a screen. You can just watching him, you can learn a lot of him.
Sure, he's not Tim Duncan, but he's pretty damn close, and is on pace to become one of the greatest NBA centers of all time when it's all said and done.